Okay. Are we recording this time? Good. I went into like 10 minutes of making this video, and then I realized that I wasn't even recording. So let's dive into it now. This is my interpretation of the rhythm guitar for David Bowie's Station to Station. Those of you who have heard the song, it's quite a long song, 10 minutes long, but there's really not a lot to it. It's just a few riffs that are repeated. Kind of well. Earl Slick does all the fancy stuff. But let's dive into it. So, starting up, you get the feedback build up from Earl, and then the bass comes in, keyboards are coming in, drums finally do the and then that's when everyone comes in and they're all playing the main riff. That opening lick. And Carlos's part on that starts with on the D and G string, have your finger on the 5th fret of the D string and the 7th fret of the G string. And be sure you're just playing those two strings. You don't want to get the other notes. You don't want to get the other strings in there. And then you want to slide that into the 7th and 9th on the respective strings. So you want to have that. And then keeping that same shape, move over to the 9th and 11th frets and bend the shape. Bend both of those strings at the same time. Back into the 7th and 9th. So that should sound like... just like that. And then it gets into probably the trickiest part of the rhythm guitar section, actually, which is the arpeggios. Where for that, you want to have your middle finger on the 6th fret of the B string, your index finger on the 5th fret of the G string, your ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string, and your pinky on the 8th fret of the A string. So you got to get your whole hand in there. And starting, it's G, B, G, D, A. And really the hard part is just transitioning from that. So you do that, and then you move that whole shape up 2 frets. So now you have 8th fret of the B string, 7th fret of the G string, 9th fret of the D string, and 10th fret of the A string. So that part will be... and make sure you don't hit these low and high E strings. That's not really... It won't sound good with the song when you're doing that. So either like be real persistent with your picking, or you can mute them in one way or another. But anyway, that whole lick should sound like... Yeah, so basically that just repeats for a long time while Earl's doing his crazy stuff and the rest of the band's jamming out on their respective patterns. And then David Bowie finally comes out and sings the return of the thin white duke, throwing nuts in lover's eyes. Whereas during that part, you want to play a C minor bar chord, and if you're unfamiliar with bar chords, I have a video on that too. I'll leave a link in the description for you. But do a C minor bar chord, starting on the 3rd fret, and just have your minor bar chord shape on there. And then do a G bar chord, which is just move that shape up a series of strings. F sharp, which is just move it down a fret. And then a D, and how I like to do it, I like to wrap my thumb over the fretboard and press it down on the 2nd fret of the E string and start on that F sharp. And the technique I'm using to get that sound, if you're unfamiliar with it, is palm muting. I rest my palm not like too far on the strings, or else you won't get a sound, but right here, right on the bridge, so that those string sounds are muted. And I'm just starting on the root note, and then I go down the strings and go back up to that root note, if if that makes any sense. And it should sound like this. And you want to do that once the first time, because he sings that phrase once. So, the return of the thin white duke, throwing darts in lovers' eyes. And then it goes right back into that riff that I just taught you. The while he's singing the "Here are we" and so forth. And so you do that just for as long as he's singing. I can't remember how many times he sings that at the moment, but it's after the "You drive like a demon from station to station." You do that once more, and then it goes back into the return of the thin white duke, throwing darts in lovers' eyes. The return of the thin white duke, throwing darts in lovers' eyes. The return of the thin white duke, making sure white stains. Hold that D. And during that last note right there is when the drums do the dum, 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 ba-da-ba. Now we're into phase 2 of the song, where we've got a G major bar chord, and play it kind of fancy. On the once there were mountains, and into B minor, and once there was silver, and then you play a D, starting on the A string, 5th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret on the respective strings, A, D, and G, and just play those 3 notes. And then move that down a fret to the A, and then back into that G major bar chord. So that should sound like, "What's there in mountains and mountains, and one thing sober's the soul, and the one side never be. Repeat that twice. And then D, back to back to the G. So that whole thing should sound like, once there were mountains on mountains, and once there were summers to summers, and once I could never be down. Got to keep searching and searching, and never will I be believing with love. Running, running, running away. And once you do that, you've got the have you opportunity to save and shine into the memory protect you and I. And so for that, you're gonna play a G major bar chord, and you're just gonna, one note it, and then down to a F sharp minor, where you just take this finger off and let your index finger take care of that string, and then to a F major, down a fret, make it major again, and then going back to that D, but you're gonna play it on the C, so it's 3 5 5 A D G, and you're gonna move that shape up to 3 5 7, and then you're gonna remove your ring finger from the D string and let your index finger take care of that. So then it'll be 5 5 7. Or no, 7 7 9, my bad. And then bring it back. Then up to the 9th fret. And you do that 3 times, and on the last time, you add that shape up to the 10th fret. So it should sound like. And the whole thing will sound like. Have you opportunity to save and shine? Into the man who will protect you and I. Bring your glass with your glass high. And then you have this part, which just repeats throughout the rest of the song. So I'm going to teach you this, and then the whole thing will be done. Starting on the it's not the side effects of the cocaine. I'm thinking that it must be love. It's too late to play ball. It's too late to play it again. It's too late to play ball. And you just have that. And that's the rest of the song right there. So you have an A major bar chord. It's not the side effects of the cocaine. Up to B minor. I'm thinking that it must be love. Down to the G major. Back to B minor. It's too late. To C major. To be grateful. Up to D major, 10th fret, back to the G. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear on that. B minor, some minor bar chord, starting on the 7th fret. C major is the 8th fret major bar chord. D major is the 10th fret. G major is the 3rd fret. And then A is on the 5th. So now that we've got that, it's just, it'll be, A. My bad. It'll be A. B minor. that little lick that continues throughout the rest of the song. So I'm going to play it twice over for you with the lyrics, or me singing it, to give you an idea of when it needs to repeat. So kicking off from the... It's not the side effects of cocaine. I'm thinking that it must be love. It's too late to make love. It's too late to make it again. It's too late to make love. It's here. I must be the only one who will. I wonder the day passes by. It's too late to make love. It's too late to make it again. It's too late to make love. And so that should give you an idea of when that needs to repeat, and you just keep that going even through the solo, through the next set of the lyrics, the whole thing. And on the studio it fades out while you're playing that riff, but live, if you're playing it live, they'll end it back on the return of the thing you want to, making sure it's saying. But yeah, that should cover it. I hope that was helpful. Hope it made sense. And I hope you just got something out of it. But yeah. Take care. Yeah. Whew. Alright. See what we got. Oh, jeez. My ass hurts. Oh, I didn't stop. Shit.